Obviously, this is not working right. Something is screwed up. Do you have any audio? I don't know what is going on with this thing. You can tell I haven't done it for a while because this stuff is screwed up. Everything did a major reset. And it didn't save any of my info that I spent forever figuring out. Alright, I look ugly, but here we go. Arkansas Prepper, you there, buddy? Alright. Hello, Leroy. Man, I got to start my whole learning process over again. Caveman, what's up, buddy? Holy crap. Man. Okay, for some reason it's not doing the 16:9 like it should. But there is video and there is audio, so I can work on that later. I'm going to check and see if I get something simple here. Joey, what's going on, my friend? All right. Yep. I'm glad you said that, Susie. I remembered to do it. Man, I don't know what's going on here with the video. But I wanted to try to bring this back, start doing my weekly live streams again, because Arkansas Prepper said he missed them, and I appreciate that. Oh, there we go. Now it popped up. I guess it's still working. I was hoping it would be too, but you see the problems I'm having trying to get this initiated again and get it going. Next week's will be, because I gotta get it to where you can see the fire, but I can also see the screen, and that's going to be tough to do. I gotta set up another camera to be just the fire, and then I'll be able to use the screen. So we'll get it. Give me time. I'm just trying to get back into it. That's the ugliest picture I've ever seen, by the way. I do look ugly. Man. But lots been going on. I don't have all of it. Yeah, you might be right. It needed warmed up. I don't know what it was. You know, the way you do it, when I set these up each week when I was doing it, I just used the settings from the previous live stream. Well, with all the updates that occurred with OBS and with YouTube and everything, there was nothing saved. And I didn't realize that until I got ready to go. And it's like, oh man, nothing is. I'm trying to throw something together to at least get it up here, but it seems like it's coming back. I can't find Dr. Pepper on sale anywhere, and I'm not paying $7 for a 6-pack of Dr. Pepper. That breaks my heart. So, Gatorade Zero tonight. I just refuse to pay that much money for Dr. Pepper. What does everyone think about the new hype for videos? I don't know what you mean. I know YouTube is. Nick and I were talking about this the other day. In the last 5 months, YouTube has completely changed from the way it used to be. It's a 100% change. And every YouTube creator that's been around a while is suffering huge losses in views. Everybody is. Oh, I was very hot and out of breath after cutting the limbs and everything down. Oh my God, Susie, thank you. I can go get a 6-pack of Dr. Pepper. uh, yes, I was very hot. I mean, it's October, 87 out there when I got done dropping that last little tree. So yes, I was hot and I was out of breath. But I have my breath now, and I'm cooled down. I'm fat and old, what can I say? But yeah, for me, that's a lot of work. And my arm, just gets sore, and that takes me down, too. Oh, I have to check into that, Susie. I don't know. I just have. I'm going to tell you the truth. It's like it's becoming so difficult um, for me to get enthusiastic about YouTube again, because it is changing so dramatically and totally out of our control. You know, I just don't. Uh, I shot a video with me and Gary working on the walls inside the house. And I had my Bluetooth hooked up to my iPhone, and, we were listening to music. And I'm like, I don't care. I'm not going to monetize this. It had all of our interactions and everything. So I'm not even going to worry about monetizing. It'll be a fun video. But it started getting banned, and then finally YouTube just took it off. And I wasn't even trying for monetization on it. So, I don't know. Hey, caveman. I'm no longer monetized by YouTube. Yeah. Yeah, 26,000 subs. Yeah. I'm at 24.8, and I expect it to go anytime now. I think what happened was uh, they started putting videos on unmonetized channels. So if you go look, I was doing this. I did a video with 24,000 subscribers talking about Lowe's and the low quality of service and what is happening to Lowe's. I got 500 views on that. A week later, somebody put up a video. What's going on with Lowe's? Why the bad service? What are they doing, right? This person had less than 1,000 subscribers, and in a week, his video had 700,000 views. How is that possible? You know why? When you sign into YouTube, you get all these suggested videos. The only thing YouTube is recommending to viewers are these channels where they don't have to share revenue. They got all of that revenue from the advertisers on that channel, and they don't have to share that with the content creator. On our channels that are monetized, we share the revenue. So I knew as soon as I started advertising on non-monetized channels what was going to happen, who was going to get the favorite in, you know, the recommendations. So it's AI doing it. And, you know, I mean, YouTube's smart for doing that. That's how they're in the business, to make money. So if you got 5 million subscribers, you get recommended. Or if you have less than 1,000, you get recommended. Us, you know, like we are, we don't get recommended for anything. You know, it's just that simple. My average videos now, my average views are, you know, 300 and 400. That's it. That's all I ever get. And I get no comments because a lot of comments get on there, but then they get deleted. They're not there anymore. So, and I've seen other channels that, you know, when you go look at the video, you see they got 35 comments. And when you go down to the comments, there's only 6 or 7 of them that you can even see. So that counts on the back end that you don't have any comments. So your algorithm is just, you know, it throws you all the way at the bottom. And there's no way to compete against that I know of. So I'm going to keep making videos as I can. I'm not going to, you know, I just am going to make videos, you know, randomly. I did work on the septic system, Dad. I didn't even set up a camera. You know, it's like, I'm going to show, you know, the 100 or so people that are active on my channel. That's who will get to see it, and that's it. So, wow, 1.5 million views. I don't have one video that's got over 500,000 views on it. You know, now I went through and deleted a whole bunch of non-performing videos to try to clean up my channel. And I'm going to try to continue setting up playlists and try to do, I haven't approached it like a business, or haven't approached it with the idea of how can I maximize my income from it, because I never depended on the income. I had good months, but I mean, I work. You know, I have other income. I have my eBay income. I have my part-time job income. I have my retirement income. So I never worked YouTube to where I got to where I could depend on it. And, you know, I think if I demonetized my channel, I'd probably get a whole lot more views. But it's still fun. But YouTube is not fair anymore. It's not, they don't do it right. Mountain Man, what are you doing? You're out there. You must have good signal out there and hit the cabin. Wow. Good. I saw you commented on the video I put up earlier. That's pretty awesome. You're just right now letting them know you're out there. That's what the first day's for, I guess. They can all get together tonight and talk about who's out here early. You know, shares help, but it's like, I think the reason why I really don't complain, I'm not trying to complain about it, I'm just saying this is, how it works. I think if I had set up a channel, and if I did my videos where I just did, you know, a 10-minute video that was just about the septic, then that would get a certain amount of views. But I do a whole lot of stuff in each video. I don't sit down and, I mean, I don't have the talent to make that kind of stuff. I'm going to try. I mean, it's like today, I could have done the video of just cutting down those few little trees and trying to clean up the mess, and then that'd be it. Not sit there and talk about, you know, the cab company and how I'm changing this job and what I plan on doing. You know, if I could figure out how to separate all that, I might be better off. But to me, it's not worth it. Wow, that's awesome, Mountain Man. I didn't get that out here. Without my fiber optic, I would have nothing. Malachi's Corner. Yes, indeedy. All right. How's Kim doing? Yep, Joe's back with randomness. We're just talking about YouTube. But, oh, I found a guy. I'm going, he had 2 of them for me this week, but his wife sold them without realizing he had saved 2 for me. The 330-gallon totes, right? They're food grade, but they were one-time use only totes, so they couldn't be returned. He washes them out, he sanitizes them, and he steams them out. So they're like brand new, right? 95 bucks a piece. I'm like, hells yes. I'll take 6 of them. I can put 4 of them on my trailer, so probably in 2 weeks I'll have 4 more. And I'm going to go get those 4 and set myself up with that, the 330-gallon tanks. Because I was going to buy one of those 1,500-gallon tanks off of, or at Tractor Supply. They have about the best price. But that was going to be $1,800. I can get 2,000 gallons off of this guy for 600 bucks. So, I love my fireplace. All right, Ellen. It's getting there. But yeah, this guy's been talking. I was headed out there today to get the 2 of them when he messaged me and said, because they sell them to other people too. He said his wife didn't know 2 of them were reserved for me. So, and I believe he has no reason to lie. So hopefully I can go get them next week or week after. Next week we're going to finish up the plumbing on the septic. Smoky Mountain Off-Grid, what's going on, my friend? I'm doing great. Getting back into the swing of things. The new hype button. I'm going to have to look for that because I had heard things about it, but like I said, my interest in YouTube channels is getting less. Yeah, 550 gallons for you, Kim. 1 person in that your cabin out there, that's plenty for you. I want mine because we're going to be living out here, me and Gail, and Alex will be here. We'll all be taking showers, so I need more. We aren't off-grid. We're not going to be off-grid here. Well, hopefully people will start figuring out how to hype my videos. You know what? Part of the problem with YouTube also is you know, it's everything is like oversaturated. There's probably a million Homestead channels. There's probably several million prepper channels. Uh, it's just oversaturated, and they get they a million new channels every day, and then you've got these channels that are all AI, and the comment farms. Because I could pay a company to put 5,000 views on every video and 1,000 comments, and you can pay to have that done at these comment farms, but I'm not doing that. Well, anything to get more visibility. I was off grid here for a long time, uh, but part of doing this and this kind of, that kind of lifestyle, if you will, you have to both be into it. If you're in a relationship or you're married, you both have to go in at 100% or you don't do it. You can't be, you know, because I'm in it 100%, Gail's not. So it does me no good to be in it 100%. That's why we got electric. That's why we're getting a septic. That's why I'm worried about the water. You know, I will have all of the backup for when it does happen, but uh, it takes two. If there's two of you, you both have to be 100% into it, or it doesn't work out. Yeah, I'm gonna have the pump and everything. Eventually, I may drill a well, but I'll have the 2,000 gallon, like a septic, or not septic, a cistern, and the well will just fill up the cistern as is needed. We will work out of the cistern, and the pump in the well will only kick on when it needs to fill up the cistern. Hey, Jonathan, welcome. Glad you could tune in. I did learn something already concerning power. There's a lot to learn about it. But my tanks, you know, hopefully by next weekend I'll have Alex's building moved. And then I'm going to build a pump house, if you will, or something. I'm going to build onto that for all the water tanks. So they will be enclosed and have a heat source, so I won't have to worry about freezing. I won't have to deal with any of that kind of stuff. We'll build a little room and insulate it and everything. And that will be where the water tanks are stored and all the waters. And if I don't get enough rain, if we go through a drought like we did and there's not enough rain, the guy only charges $85 to bring out 2,000 gallons of potable water. So I always have that option. He'll come out and fill up my tanks. Yes, an AC unit is very power hungry. I could never run my AC in here when I had solar. I always had to kick the generator on to run the AC. Cornbread, what's up, my friend? Hi there. Getting new people in here. How wonderful is that? I got to do this every week, dang it. Arkansas Prepper, this was a good idea getting me back on here. Thank you. And remember, Malachi's Corner, I did a video, doesn't get any views. Those are not solar generators. They do not generate electricity for you. They store electricity. Those are power stations. A 3600 watt is a good one, but it doesn't generate power. It stores it for you. And just think, with your 200 watts of solar panels, when you drain that 3600 watts down, how long is that 200 watt solar panel going to take to charge you back up full again? You got to think about stuff like that. Yeah, that's what you want to do. But, I mean, you realize if SHTF happens and everything goes downhill, you know, and everything goes crazy, you're going to have to learn to live without air conditioning anyway. So that's what I would be looking at. I just, you know, it's like, yeah, you have to think about how much power you're actually going to get to pour into your battery bank as to how long it's going to be, you know, what you can use. Air conditioning is a super luxury that, you know, $10,000 systems can run. My $2,000 system couldn't run an air conditioner, but for maybe a couple of hours. But you know what? It ran my internet, it ran my refrigerator, it runs all the stuff like that. It doesn't have a problem with. That's what was important. But you can hear my air conditioner running now. I mean, it finally got down to 70 outside. Well, thank you, Jonathan. I appreciate that. You're welcome, man. Jump in on this conversation. That's what's cool about this. I try to do this live stream. It's nice and small. We're a very little group who can interact a lot, and that's what we like. Everybody's friendly in here. Everybody's smart in here, and they can answer tons of questions. How's your puppy doing? Hope he's doing great. Yeah, that's a good. Thank you, Joey, for bringing that up. Hopefully the puppy's doing fine. The Big Easy, welcome. Yeah, it's funny when I was talking to Kim about that. Her dog, she said, fortunately, it just got bit in the fat. And I was telling Gail, we got Rex and Bentley, the Beagles, right? Rex is like just a round pound, you know, he's fat as hell. And that same thing would be with him. If Rex got bit like that, it would mostly be just the fat. Bentley, it would crush bones because he's so skinny. So how's the economy? The economy sucks. You know, I just that plain and simple. No prices are coming down. Nothing is happening. We were sold a bill of goods. You know, the economy sucks. If you were out here, Jonathan, maybe we could do some work together. Uh, but yeah, it's the truth, Susan. It just, you know, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to buy 10 sheets of drywall. Why am I only buying 10 sheets of drywall? Because they're $18 a sheet. 5 years ago, they were $7 a sheet. You know, 3 years ago, when I budgeted this stuff out, they were $10 a sheet. Today, it's $17 for a sheet of drywall. I can't stand it. Yeah, it shouldn't be a game show. It should be reality. There is zero interest in this administration, the last administration, the administration before that, the administration after this one. There is no longer any interest in helping the American people with the economy. Right? How can we have the economy like it is and the government shutdown and the stock market still doing great? Because, the stock market used to be a gauge of our economy. It used to show the state of our economy. Now it's only for the rich people to exchange money. That's what the stock market's for. If you have a few $1,000s worth of stock, you'll make a little bit of money. But if you have millions, then you are going to make millions. That's all it's for. And they still want to talk. And that's why you hear a lot of time, oh, the stock market's doing great. Because they want you to believe that means the economy's doing great. I have to buy groceries every week. I'm trying to build a house that's going to take me forever to build because I can't buy the shit. Yeah, I know Canada's Canada is turning into the UK faster than we are, at least. I think we have a little bit more time before we turn into the UK. Canada, you guys are getting close. Oh, yeah, Arkansas Prep. That's an interesting point. Everything is $5. Wow, two of them for $20. You can't beat that. I mean, that's one of the things that just frustrates me. It's like, I don't see any help coming. Thank you, Cornbread. We are smarter than what we're letting our government do to us. We are smarter than that. But you know what? They spent the last 35 years putting everybody that they could possibly find on some form of government assistance. Because when you are buying their food and you're paying for their house and you're paying for their medical, they are not going to argue with you for a second. That's what they want. And now they're after us, the ones who can barely survive. Our head's still above the water right now, right? But they want us pushed down there too. And they're going to do it one way or the other. They really are. Canada could use a Trump, but you know what? Before the election, I'm telling you, Trump cannot fix this. Trump cannot fix this by himself. You know, because nothing has changed in the year that he's been in there, or the 8 months he's been in there. Nothing has changed. Nothing has gotten better. Yeah, there's the headlines, you know, oh man, they arrested, 100 illegals. There's 20 million of them. You know, you go after them. But no, he's not allowed to. That's the problem. He's not allowed to do anything. He's only a president. He's a figurehead who talks a good game. Morgan's, North Carolina, what's going on, buddy? Yeah, gas is not coming down. That's never going to come down. Eggs came down, but they're going back up. Trust me. Nothing else is coming down. I mean, it's just not, it ain't there. Cattle rustling? Yeah. There you go. Let's do it, man. That's what we got. Yeah, we're going to go back to cattle. My friend down here at the bottom of the hill's got 25 head. I know I can sneak one of them bastards out and bring him up here. Oh, it's funny, but it's scary that we even have to think that way. And $4 a pound for ground beef's a pretty good price. I did a little thing because I saw it on the internet. It wasn't my idea. See that? I mentioned it earlier. That's Gatorade Zero. Nobody has Dr. Pepper on sale. And I am not paying $7 for a 6-pack of Dr. Pepper. Ain't doing it. $3.50 for a 2-liter. $8 for a tube of. Yeah. Oh my God! I bet you because it's $4 here, Jonathan. Like $3.80 something for a 2x4. Yeah, that's the thing, Malachi's Corner. We have to know how to become self-reliant. They are slowly draining us of everything that we have. So, and I try to mention it in every video, and to people in my cab, I try to talk to them. You have to start getting prepared for what's coming. We can't stop it. All we can do now is try to warn people and encourage people. Because we are going to be totally on our own. I mean, I've mentioned before, there's people out here, we're kind of like an ad hoc group, if you will. Everybody's got a really heightened sense of urgency. You can feel it coming. And and when I do that, look what it does to the screen, the lighting. But yeah, you can feel it coming, and we can't stop it. I mean, we gotta adapt to it. That's all there is to it. We need a major reset in this country. I'm crushing it right now. I was crushed under credit card debt for years, so you're paying out $3,700 plus. Wow. You know what? I'm to the point where I sometimes sit back and wonder, why am I paying or worried about all this debt? Look where we're headed. I mean, the pandemic got us into debt. I think that was part of the plan. Yeah, they gave us the extra money there at the beginning, But everything jumped up so high in price, we had no choice but to get into debt just to live. You know, how many millions of Americans were buying groceries on credit cards? Right? 30 years ago, that was totally unheard of. Nobody bought groceries on credit cards. So we had to. But now it's like, okay, what's going to happen if 2 years from now the whole thing collapses? Right? You're spending $3,000 a month on credit cards. That's $36,000 a year. You could have built yourself a house out somewhere and get ready for this. Quit living in that land of debt. I mean, it's one of those things you just got to think about. Yeah, you're Malachi's Corner. You're 100% right. I remember back in the 70s, my dad was remodeling the house. 2x4s were 75 cents each. Drywall was 3.9. Yes, I remember that, and they were actual, real, you know, good pieces of lumber. Now that drywall I was talking about, they're called light. You can't buy regular drywall anymore. You can't afford regular drywall. So they have this stuff that's lighter weight, and half-inch drywall is no longer half-inch. So if you're trying to patch a hole in your house, you know, in your wall, they don't match. They're not the same thickness now. Half-inch drywall is thinner than half-inch drywall used to be. And it costs more, and it's a very brittle product. Uh, I hate this new drywall, but that's all you can buy. You know, I use that siding in the house, those rooms of the house, but it's like I already had it. You know, I used, I don't know, 10, 12 sheets of that siding, and that's drywall I didn't have to buy. – 536 miles. Do you think Malachi's Corner? I don't want you to get mad that I'm asking this, but this is something I got to ask about that kind of that plan for SHTF. Do you think if something happened, if the economy collapses or grid goes down, whatever, that you'll be able to make a 536-mile trip? Do you think you'll be able to do that? I worry about making a 65-mile trip from Wheeling out to St. Bernard Acres. That's why I want to get moved out here so bad. I There are some things now. I will say this, but back roads are going to take you how long? Where are you going to get gas? Depending on what happens, you know. Those are the things I think about when it comes to having a bug out location 500 or 600 miles away. That's what I worry about. I would spend $2,000 a month on a bug out location that's like within 100 miles of my location. Yeah, Helen, yes, and you're more in the shelter in place type of thing. Are you still doing the taxes? Yes, I am. I mentioned that in today's video. I was doing 9 to 5. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I was doing 9 to 5. The reason I was doing that was to get the extra money I needed to put my septic together. Well, I got the septic together. So, and I'm tired. Driving, it's fun. I enjoy doing it. But man, every day it seemed like I was driving, 300 miles. I was going to Morgantown and back, and Columbus and Youngstown. And that's really far from Wheeling. And then having to sit there and wait each day. It's like, man, I'm tired. That was hard on me. So starting next week, they let me change my hours to just 1 to 6. They need the extra help in the afternoons because that's when people are getting done with doctor's appointments, and there's a lot of shift changes that the staffing side of the company does. So they can use that help. I'll just cut down to 15 hours a week. I don't need the 30 hours a week I was trying to get. So I'm going to cut down to that. But I enjoy it. Yeah, I'm with you on that, Morgan NZ. I don't think people can do that, and I'd hate to see all of my preps that somebody else gets to use. And that's what scares me about. Now, a group like we have here with my neighbors, that's the kind of group. We all have our own stuff. We all have our own things. We can all help each other out. We don't have to travel anywhere to do that. And I think that's what people need to start thinking about. A local group, not somebody 3 states away, who potentially will benefit from everything you're doing. At least, you figure if half the group is 500 miles away, only about half of those are going to be able to make it. So the others really make out like banshees. You know what I mean? Yeah, I know it's a tough thing, Malachi's Corner. I would just wish there was a way to, in Wheeling, our friends could band together, and in your town, you get a half a dozen friends who agree, okay, we're going to all use this house, this property we're going to use. Joe's house. We're all going to go to Joe's house so we can all start stocking at Joe's house, because no matter what happens, we can get 25 miles to Joe's house. That type of group I can appreciate. I appreciate the group of people out here. Like I said, it's not an official prepper group. Nobody's traveling to stay here, but we will all support each other. That I can appreciate. All right. Come on. Yeah, Malachi's Corner. Yeah, if you can move, that's the thing to do. Maybe that's why you're fixing up your house. We would stay put on our acreage in SHTF. We have a creek running through the back of the property. We have wood burner in the building here. We can stay there. Yeah, now, somebody mentioned on the video I did earlier, because I don't have a wood burner, I don't have a wood stove in here. There will be one in the house. So I will be doing firewood every year then for that. This little bit I did out here is just so I could have a little fire in the fire ring and cook on it. But yeah, I mean, yeah, if you plan on moving to West Virginia, I mean, that's one thing. But I wonder about, that's my only concern. I know I could not make it 500 miles, you know. I mean, I've got friends in Cincinnati. I couldn't make it to Cincinnati, and that's a 4-hour drive. I wouldn't try to go to Cincinnati to bug out there with friends, you know. I would work with my neighbors, you know. That's where you really need the security. I'm not worried near as much about security out here. Because by the time they got to me and got up this hill, there ain't going to be no fight left in them anyway. They're going to be sick and dead. But I was just curious about that. And you know, I mean, it's great to have a group. I agree with that. It's great to have people that you can count on to do things. But thing is, everything I'm taking to Ed's, I'm seeing as possible losses, SHTF, before my, you know, I hate to see that happen. But I understand. I mean, not everybody, you know, is in the same position. Everybody's in different situations. Prepping is such a unique thing to each individual. Uh, Everybody's got a different thing that they have to worry about. I like my plan, but you know, could it be better? Yeah, it could be better. I mean, if something happened, Gary's got to come here. If he's up here, he could come out here and then wait until the opportunity arises for him to go to Alabama to his property. You got to go to his channel too, by the way. Dakota's Cross is his channel. He put up a couple videos last weekend when he was down there. He's got his little cabin built now. He calls it a storage shed, but he sets up camp in it. He's got his shower set up. I mean, it's really cool what Gary is doing down there. I can't wait for the opportunity for me to go down there and visit at his place. And I'm going to go down there and pick me out a spot and build a little cabin down there. Because I can go down there in the winter and come up here during the summer. Yeah, it is a challenge. I'll give you credit for that. That it is. But yeah, I mean, I think, you know, I think about stuff like that. And I'm all for it. I mean, you got to do what you got to do, Kim. I understand that entirely. Yeah. If there was one thing you could do to change the status of our economy right now, what would you do? That's an interesting question, and that's why I didn't run for president. I'm not running for office. I don't know how to fix it. I don't know how to fix it. You know, it's all, it's a rigged game against us. So if you wanted to fix it, you would stop all money going overseas and out of this country. That is our money for running our country. It's not the administration's money to send to other people. The very first thing I would do is stop all foreign aid. If we're not getting something in return that's worth the value of that dollar, then I don't care what you do in your country. I don't care what is happening in your country. I don't give a shit. You take care of yours. If we stop sending out billions and billions of dollars every month around the globe, we would again have the greatest economy in the world. You fix it by making it stay here. Well, thank you, Jonathan. I appreciate that, buddy. We're a hardcore preppers. We're canning cornbread now. All right. See, we got to get into that, folks. I think I'm going to direct my channel. My channels are going to become more along the prepping side. I mean, as I'm building the house. But we got to get that message out to people. Congress should get a stipend. Right now, there is no need for congressmen or senators or any of that shit to have offices and residences in Washington, D.C. If you're from the state of Ohio, you lived your house. Everybody has computers now. They want all school was being done through the computer. The government can be run through that. Right? You could save trillions by scaling back government. All the travel could come to an end. You know, you take a vote, you sign on your computer, and you're with your colleagues. There doesn't have to be a Washington, D.C. There doesn't have to be all the offices up there. You know, eliminate that. I mean, there are ways. You talk about waste. Keep the money here. That's 100% correct, Arkansas prepper. It's the same up here. Our leaders throwing our country away. I don't understand it. I do. It's called the New World Order. That's what they want. They're all part of it. Cornbread. Prepping should be common sense. Practical. Things could happen that nobody could possibly predict. 100% right, Cornbread. 100% right. You know, and it's going to happen. That's the problem. You know, and it should be common sense. But once again, I'll say this like I said at the beginning of this live stream. For 35 years, these administrations has been putting everybody they can possibly find on some sort of government subsidies. Something. And when you have the government paying your food, paying your rent, paying for your medical, you're not going to argue with anything that they do. And you have become totally dependent on them. So you don't know what prepping means. You know, they don't want them to learn what prepping means. And they're not going to argue with the hand that feeds them. Right? That's been this plan all along. Get all of us on some form of government assistance. Yeah, $37 trillion. There is no $37 trillion. 30 trillion of that 37 trillion is probably money we gave to everybody on the planet, except us Americans. All these countries benefit from the generosity of America, but America doesn't get to benefit from the generosity. You know, that's what has to stop, and that's what will never stop. Hey Ray, what's up, my friend? Oh yeah, but you know what? That payment will never be made. The war that's coming probably is going to wipe all that out. That's why I said a hard reset. Say, okay, sorry folks, what are you going to do? Foreclose on us? I don't care. We have no debt. The only debt we have is to the American citizen. That's the only debt that there should be. Right? That I accept. You take, how do we owe China $4 trillion, $5 trillion? How do we owe that? We don't. That's all made up bullshit. We don't owe them a thing. You know? We could end that tomorrow. It's pretty easy. You know? Oh, you're right, Ray. The people that spend our money, they don't have any skin in the game. That's 100% correct. It's not their money as far as they're concerned. Once they get elected, they got medical for life, they got retirement, they work 4 years and they get money the rest of their lives. Because they don't care what we go through. Preppers on YouTube, that's I don't know. There are some really good channels that do talk about me. You know who the best preppers are? The best prepping channels you can watch, and the best preppers that ever were, are real homesteaders. And those who grew up on the farm for the last 4 generations, those are the preppers. Those are the ones that know. Right? The ones that went through the Depression, that went through, the wars. Right? They know how to do it. Then they're killing all of them off. They're not, there's nobody learning that kind of skill. One second after, what's left in Fortnite? It doesn't matter what's in Fortnite. None of it is real. That's the thing. I mean, old Roscoe's 100% right. It's all smoke and mirrors. Show me your books that shows who do we owe $37 trillion to, and what did we get for that? Somebody show me that. Where do we owe $37 trillion? That's what I want to know. Nobody can show me that. Right? My $16,000 or $18,000 I'm in debt, I can show you where that is. I have a tractor sitting in my barn. There's part of my debt that I owe out. That's what I want to see. Where do we have $37 trillion worth of shit? Morgan, I grew up on a farm, prepping all my life, 60 years now. All of a sudden, prepping is the thing. I just laugh. Yeah, exactly right, Morgans. And that's the problem with me. I never did. The only thing I learned how to do from my family was how to survive and get the hell away from them. That's the only lessons I got. I do know how to survive, but that was it. Prepping is a good idea, but it only lasts for a short time. My idea with prepping, I want to have enough supplies, be it food stocks, water, whatever. I think that if something happened, SHTF happens, no matter what it is, it's only going to be, I don't think, a year and a half before some other sense of normalcy, whatever the new normalcy is going to be, is going to start coming into play. You don't have to be prepared for 10 years or 15 years. I don't ever see that becoming an issue, right? You're worried about 10 years worth of food or 15 years worth of food. You're worrying about the wrong stuff. I think it becomes unhealthy when you reach that point of being a prepper. Lisa, hi there. Oh, finally. See, this was worth coming on to. You and Arkansas Prepper and everybody. Uh, there's not enough room for everybody to start prepping. And you know what? There is. I mean, you got to think on a scale. You can't go out and buy a year's worth of freeze dried food tomorrow. But you know what? You can start little. I've got probably 18 months worth of food stocks that we're good on, you know. But I didn't buy it all at one time. I've been buying it for 10 years. You know, I mean, it takes a while, just a little bit at a time. That's what I try to tell people, you know. And it's not too late to start. I'm just saying basic, just a year is all it's going to take. A year and a half, maybe, you know. If you're one of those people who's prepping for the end of the world as we know it, and then that's not my kind of prepping, you know. If the world's going to end, the only prepping you need to do is get right with God. That's the only thing you have to prep if you think the world's going to end, you know. And you don't have it. If you can make it through that first few weeks, you're good. You know, if you're bugging in. Terraponics, I'll have to look at that. I haven't looked into that at all. But yeah, I mean, I think my channel and my idea is going to start leaning more towards the prepping end of things. Just try to get the word out to people. You know, I'm going to tell you, this cab driving job has been an eye-opening adventure. Just the few months I've been doing it and learning people and interacting with some of these people. You know, there's probably maybe 2% of all the people I've interacted with now as a cab driver that even can understand what being prepared for something is. They live for the moment. They live for that government handout month to month. That's all they live for. They don't know anything else. Old Roscoe said, you know, that's going to become, you're right, your health, that's it. I have to start, you know, get back into that again. You know, I'm very fortunate with all the tests that they've run on me through the doctor. Everything is fine. I don't have any major issues. So I need to respect that. And I need to start losing weight, and I need to start eating better and getting in better shape. That has to be, you know, a very high priority on my prepping list is me, taking care of me. It's not going to do me any good to have 18 months worth of food out here if I die in a month because I'm so out of shape. Yeah, yes, I did 1 second after. From Maxwell House to Maxwell Apartment. It's a mind game. They're trying to force all of this on us, you know? Smoky Mountain off grid. I grew up dirt poor. We were lucky to even eat at times. Prepping is a way of life for us now. Good for you. I mean, it sucks you had to go through that, but yeah, I understand it. You know, I've been homeless. I went through homelessness. I went through, you know, when I was a kid, we lived in a car on the beach for 6 months, two families. You know, we ate government macaroni and cheese every night, plus whatever we could get out of the ocean or out of the Gulf of Mexico. You know, I mean, we survived all that, so, you know, it just, you got to get people to understand what's coming. If we could teach people what's coming, maybe we could stop it if enough people could learn, you know. Yeah, I don't understand the Maxwell. Well, again, it all goes back to the cashless society. Digital IDs are coming, folks. You know, again, just like in the UK, we're going to allow this to happen. Just like Jonathan was talking about in Canada, it's happening. You know, we're not going to do anything to stop it, so you better get ready. Yeah, Gulf of America. Well, back then it was the Gulf of Mexico. Uh, but yes, I understand that entirely. Now it might be better living now that it's the Gulf of America, not the Gulf of Mexico. Might be easier to catch some. I mean, truthfully, with the state of this economy and the problems that this country is facing, I personally don't give a shit if it's called the Gulf of whatever. I don't. That's not a priority to me that it become the Gulf of America. I think he's got his priorities because his ego is so big. He's got his priorities kind of mixed up. You know, I don't care about the ballroom instead of a rose garden. I don't give a shit about that. I want to be able to buy a sheet of drywall for my house. That's what I care about. I want to be able to eat something besides, the cheapest hamburger and bologna I can find. That's what I care about. Yeah, you know what, Malachi's Cordy, you're right. You're the digital ID. You know what I thought of when that short time I drove a truck, got my CDL, and was trying to see if I liked doing that or not. Do you have a TWIC card? I had to get a TWIC card. It cost me $200 to get the TWIC card. Uh, but yeah, the transportation workers identification card with that chip, and they knew where you were 24/7. They could hone in on that chip on that TWIC card and know exactly where you were. That's part of it. How's the house coming along? The house is coming along fine. It just, again, it takes money. I've got the septic now done. So now I can start putting a little bit more money into the house and get more work done on it. But yeah, it's 9:13. I'm gonna have to get off of here, guys. It's been great. I realize now how much I missed doing these live streams. Uh, they're wonderful. I am going to start doing it every Saturday night. Just plain out because number one, it's going to be nice out here now. It's not going to be, I go outside at 9 o'clock at night out, lately, and it's 100 degrees still and 110% humidity. Uh, yes, I got a TWIC card. Yeah, yeah, I remember, and that's the first thing I thought of when I got that TWIC card. Uh, I don't have it anymore, obviously, but yeah. So next weekend I'll figure out how to have another camera on the campfire, and then I'll have the camera on me. I might split the screen, and we can talk over the fire next Saturday night. I was hoping I could too, Jonathan, but I can't. I got to check in with Gail, and uh, you know, I do have a couple of things I got to get done. I hate to say it. Seems like it, it's Saturday night. What have I got? But I still got to go over to friend's property and check on his stuff. Um, we do that for each other out here that are like weekenders or people that are building out here but don't live out here full time. When I'm here, I've got 3 or 4 properties I go and check on. One guy I haven't checked on yet. I need to go check his place out. But hey, Greg, hey man, glad to see you. Next weekend it'll be longer. Now that I know I'm getting back into this, I'll be able to hang out longer next weekend. Now that I got this going again. But thank you everybody for coming back and hanging out with me and understanding. You know, I'm going through some things right now that it just, you know, I got to work all this stuff out. I don't put all my stuff out on the internet. It's not everybody's business what I'm going through. Uh, but yeah, I have my, you know, emotional ups and downs and personal struggles, if you, yeah, if you know what I mean. Got to work through that kind of crap too. But thank you everybody, and man, I'll see everybody next Saturday night. This is great. Thank y'all for the encouragement you give me. It means a lot. Everybody have a wonderful week. I'm out of here tonight. Damn it. That wasn't how I was supposed to do it, was it? No. Shit. Is that still going? Alive. Okay, I screwed that up somehow. Let me try this again. I'll say goodbye again. I don't know what the hell I did wrong. And dismiss.